Lowe's. Find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries. Now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Morning decisions. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to this edition of There Can Only Be One, the podcast that puts together the all-star best-of playlist of your favorite bands and artists. Hello to all of our listeners in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? Okay, everyone, it is time to pull out a lighter. We don't do the cell phone light here, because we're going back to the 80s. So you got to pull out that Bic lighter. You know, the one where you pulled the cover off and then you jacked up the regulator. So when you go on, when you flick that lighter and you have like a 10-foot high flame, you know you did it. You know you did it. You were a fire hazard in the pit waiting to happen. We're going to relive those days because we're talking about White Lion. And there is only one man that I know to bring on for this show. Sean Faust is back on the show. Dude, how are you doing, man?
Dude, I am so excited, and I never knew I would be so excited to talk about White Lion until about maybe just a half hour ago when I was just like, wow, like I did a deep dive into White Lion, and I have not listened to this much White Lion in a long time, you know, and nothing against the band, but what was really great was just getting to experience songs from that era that had a lot more changes than the average song, or a lot more, right? A lot more like clever changes that like the average hair metal pop song, like a Bon Jovi or a Poison, didn't have these kinds of changes. Or even Dream Theater doesn't have these kinds of changes. Like I was really loving the musicianship. You're going to hear me just praising Vito Bratta so much. So I'm probably more excited to do this episode than I was for Floyd or Rush or even Dream Theater, because this was just such a pleasure.
Well,
not that Rush and Dream Theater and Floyd aren't, but this was just like a nice get into the DeLorean, you know, put the garbage in Mr. Fusion and just head back to the 80s where everything was just so, yeah.
So slightly biased on this one we're going to be?
I really loved this listen. And you know what? Let me get this out of the way now, because Vito Bratta, for years, and I might have said it on the air, off the air, on a bunch of different shows talking music, but Vito Bratta is one of my favorite guitar players. Which is weird because I do not listen to his band that often, but he's one of my favorite guitar players for years. And for a long time, I've called him the David Gilmour of the 80s because of just his approach. It's so smooth. But doing this deep dive, I realized if Randy Rhoads and David Gilmour had a child, that child is Vito Bratta, because it's taste, it's creativity, it's precision, but it's all for the song. It's not for the musician. And I love musicians that play like that. And even the songs, because, let's be honest, and I mean no shade saying this, but like there's some filler. And even the filler is so interesting to listen to that this was just such a pleasure. Like even, I guess, quote unquote, a bad song was great to listen to.
I mean, I'm going to be very, very upfront because probably a lot of my picks are going to be based on the Best of White Lion album, because I still have that cassette to this day. I somehow did not wear it out. I played the crap out of that. And it is one of those things where White Lion to me was, they had all these fantastic songs, but for some reason I never bought the albums. So that Best Of was my gateway into everything. It's kind of like, Bob Marley. Everything would probably be very influenced by the legend Best Of cassette.
Fair
so
enough.
I get it, but I enjoyed this deep dive, and we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, my brother had Pride and Big Game when they came out. I got Main Attraction when it came out. And then I, too, played the out of that. I'm sorry for the foul language, folks. I played the heck out of that White Lion Greatest Hits cassette. And that live version, and this is not a hint at all, but that live version of Lady of the Valley is still incredible.
Oh, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, where I'm very much a white noise sleeper, and there was a really long stretch where I would just put on not just albums to listen to go to sleep, but live albums in particular, because I would, have that dream, or at least try to have that dream of being on that big kind of stage. Yeah. Lady of the Valley, the live version, and
So
Lights and Thunder. Holy crap. So we're going to have a lot to talk about this one, but the Best Of, we're not going to be talking about that album because we never do talk about the Best Ofs here. We are talking about 5 albums from the White Lion discography. Now, that being said, we're not talking Best Ofs, we're not talking live albums, and we're only going to be talking about one of the post Vito Bratta era albums. Yes, Mike Tramp has done a lot of re-recording albums of the White Lion catalog. We're not going to be covering those because they're not actually White Lion albums. There is one post Vito Bratta album, Return of the Pride, with all new material. We will be covering that, even though at that point Mike Tramp is the only member of White Lion still in the band. But you know what? Lots of stuff to talk about. We're going to start all the way back January 21st, 1986, an album celebrating its 40-year anniversary this year. Feeling old. The band at this point is Mike Tramp, Vito Bratta, Felix Robinson, and Nicky Capozzi. However, at the time the album was released, because they recorded this and then it took a while to get the album out there, James Lomenzo and Greg D'Angelo had replaced Felix Robinson and Nicky Capozzi. Peaked at number 151 on the Billboard 200. There was one single off of this one, Broken Heart. Did not chart, unfortunately. All right, so Fight to Survive. Before they really make it big, the album gets out there. Your thoughts on this, and what's your pick?
So as a whole, I dug it. And it was a little more raw, but there's something about that early 80s like hard rock heavy metal that I like, that raw sound, like the Quiet. It's got that sound of the Quiet Riot album or the band Riot. It just has that vibe. And my notes on this are the song El Salvador has a riff that's from Illumination, or actually I should say Illumination Theory from Dream Theater's self-titled album has a riff from El Salvador. But there's a riff from Hemispheres, or a chord part from Hemispheres in Road to Valhalla. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And like throughout their discography, I noticed a lot of things that like, wow, I think John Petrucci really likes White Lion. Because there's some stuff I've noticed throughout their discography. I'm like, oh, all right, well, that's from this. There was something on Big Game. I was like, dude, this is Just Let Me Breathe. But for Fight to Survive, I liked hearing, I guess, early influences for other stuff, or influences from. So I've already mentioned Dream Theater and Rush talking about this album, but my choice was actually the title track, Fight to Survive.
Oh, we are in lockstep right out of the gate. I mean, I actually love like the darker bass groove that this song has. It's almost kind of bluesy almost. But is it me? Is it me? Obviously, Pride is their first big crack on the charts. They're their first, shootout to fame kind of thing. But is it me, or did Fight to Survive, because you mentioned the production, I felt it had a better mix than some of the songs on Pride.
It didn't sound as polished, and I think that's what it is that it's not that the mix is better, because I love the sound of Pride. I love that 80s, I guess, cock rock is what it's called, or hair rock. It had that little extra chorus on the guitar, a bit more reverb. So it had a budget pretty much to add these effects at the time, where Fight to Survive doesn't have this budget. And I'm with you, though. I do like the sound on Fight to Survive, I think, the most out of all 5 albums.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say that I like the most out of all 5 albums, because they do get really, really good later on down the road. I just found, and maybe it's because I was listening to Pride like in the car on the way to work, and then Fight to Survive, I had like my good headphones on. So maybe it's just the difference in where I was when I was listening to it. But it's just one of those things where I was really impressed with the sound quality of this first release, because in the 80s, your first album, you didn't always have the budget and the studio time in order to be able to make it sound good, and they really nailed it on this disc.
Oh, absolutely! It sound. You know what album it sounds like? Hall of the Mountain King.
Okay. Yes.
Sabotage. That's the sound it has. Like, not quite Fight for the Rock, but it's like it's just that little bit of polish that Hall of the Mountain King has that this has, which, like, and I prefer that sound. I like that. Don't get me wrong, dude. I think that first Poison album, which for some reason I can't get the name, but I love the sound of that album. I love the sound of New Jersey. I love that whole sound all throughout. But also, think of this. Appetite for Destruction is just as raw as Fight to Survive.
Yes. And Look What the Cat Dragged In is a fantastically produced album. Oh, yeah. Yes. Freaking love that. I did have Broken Heart and All Burn in Hell on my short list, but yeah, we lockstep on the title track on this one.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries, now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts, from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Pride, released June 22nd, 1987, hit number 11 on the Billboard 200. It is double platinum in the US and platinum in Canada. In 2019, Rolling Stone listed this at number 22 on their 50 greatest hair metal albums of all time. There were 4 singles off of this one. When the Children Cry hit number 3 in the US and number 2 in Canada. And I remember this getting played a ton, because of course this is when all the big hair bands had to have the big acoustic ballad in order to be able to get their airplay. But before we get to our picks, I'm going to throw this out here, because the fact that this is on the list of greatest hair metal albums of all time, I don't disagree with the listing and all that. But a lot of the things that you've already been talking about in this is that White Lion has a very proggy sound to it, despite the, for lack of a better term, the hair metal polish on some of the production of the album. Do you feel it's fair to lump White Lion in with the quote unquote hair metal that sometimes gets tied to bands like, at least at the time, Warrant and Poison?
Yeah, because it's still, even though that like they are taking more musical chances and they're doing something a little, I was going to mention the proggy stuff later, but I mean, we're here. There is that prog influence that it's just undeniable listening to it, especially if you're a prog head. But there's still something about the lyrics that fit, where I say like a band like Tesla doesn't deserve to be lumped in because they're just a 70s rock and roll band trapped in the 80s. White Lion like still has that lyrical content, aside from all the anti-war and Native American stuff that Mike Tramp likes to write about. A lot of it's just having fun and partying, but Mike Tramp's all about peace, and I'm all about Mike Tramp for that.
All right, so off this disc, what's your pick?
Before we get to my pick, my good friend, I'd like to plug the music of another one of my good friends. I've known Eliza Hava since we were teenagers. She's a few years younger than me. We were mall rats together, and she's always been talented. I remember one time I put an ad in a local music zine looking for other musicians to work with. I was about 19 or 20 at the time. And she replied to it, and like 3 minutes into talking, she's like, "Wait, is this Sean Faust?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Dude, it's Eliza." I was like, "Oh my God." And like, I hadn't seen her in like 3 years at this point. And, she came over and we played some music together, hung out. And she sat at my piano, my parents' piano, and she played When the Children Cry. Fast forward to a few years ago, she has recorded a full studio version of When the Children Cry. Even Mike Tramp has a copy of it. It's phenomenal. It is beautiful. And what I want you folks to do, now, I'm usually saying to do this for me. I want you to do this for my friend Eliza Hava. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy her cover of When the Children Cry. The link will be in the show notes. And of course, give her that few extra bucks. There is a music video, an official music video for When the Children Cry on YouTube as well. It's got a lot of views. I'm jealous of you, Eliza. Very, very jealous. But please give my friend Eliza Hava's cover of When the Children Cry a home in your musical library as well as your hearts.
And yeah, we'll make sure to put those links on our website, notthatbadcast.com, on this very specific show page. All right, back to Pride.
Right. So the intro to Lady of the Valley, I know we mentioned it before, but the intro to Lady of the Valley, and I bet a lot of Guns N' Roses heads are going to get pissed off at me for this, but like, think of the intro to Pretty Tied Up. It's the same thing. I started going like perils of rock and roll decadence. It's a very similar intro, but my short list was Wait and Children, When the Children Cry. But my choice was Tell Me.
Ooh.
That's a giant chorus, my friend.
Oh, it's huge chorus. And yeah, it's on the best of course. And it's also on my short list. Because I had Wait, Tell Me, When the Children Cry on my short list. No, I'm sticking with Lady of the Valley. This was that song for me, that live version on the best of. And I would make mixtapes of just live songs from different albums and put them on and just like zone out trying to get to sleep. Lady of the Valley is such an epic freaking song. And that's the thing. Like, you hear songs like Tell Me and When the Children Cry and Broken Heart. And you're like, okay, so they're big kind of arena rock, some of them are very hair metal as Lady of the Valley. I mean, keep in mind too, this is also around that time when I'm starting to get into bands like Queensryche and the like. And it's like, okay, I'm seeing where my musical tastes are going. Lady of the Valley, right into that pocket.
Oh, so this is where I'll go with this one. So White Lion should also, aside from like the hair stuff that they were lumped in with, should also get lumped into stuff like Queensryche because they were they were that what's ambitious, I guess is the word.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't just sticking to, the 1-6-4-5s and the simple chord progressions. And Pride is really where it opens up. I mean, there is the Hemispheres like sounding chord progression in Road to Valhalla, but Pride it's a cross between a hair metal album. Is it Night Songs or is it Operation Mindcrime? Or Rage for Order would say. I wouldn't go Mindcrime, but it's in that Rage for Order area where Fight to Survive, I guess, would be The Warning.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of almost drawing, pardon the pun here, drawing a parallel to Fate's Warning and Parallels because, yeah, I find there's a little bit of a similar sound quality in those two albums as well.
Right. But Parallels is definitely prog.
Oh,
like that's definitely yeah. Right. Where Pride is, it's very accessible to anybody.
Oh, absolutely.
Which means if they're a progressive rock band, they did it better than Genesis because they got everybody listening to prog rock. White Lion, that is.
See, more prog rock should be on the radio. I tell you, we need like a prog serious channel.
I'm very sorry that I have not listened to as much White Lion in the past few years. That once again, thank you so much for having me to do this because what a treat.
I mean, like I said at the beginning of the show, there was no one else in the world I would want doing this show than Sean Faust.
Did you hear it? And you're like, this sounds like musician rock.
Like, we're going to geek for about an hour. It's all good.
And I got to give props to Mike Tramp because I think he gets unfairly overlooked by Vito Bratta's talent and like in the giant grand conversation about the band. But this dude's voice is great and he knows what to do with it. So even like the background stuff that he's doing in a lot of the stuff, especially later when we get to Return to Pride, I was like really impressed with some of the choices he made. But Mike Tramp, awesome singer, and he writes with his heart. And I respect the hell out of people that write from the heart and not just trying to write the next big hit.
Big Game, released June 5th, 1989, hit number 19 on the Billboard 200 and is gold in the U.S. 4 singles off of this one. Little Fighter charted the highest, hitting number 12 on the U.S. mainstream rock charts. And yeah, a lot of the songs on this did end up on that best of, but Big Game, bigger production too on this, I find.
Yeah. And I love the sound of it. I actually like how it goes a little extreme, as in the band Extreme on the blues side of things, because I think Extreme's first album came out around this time too. Because this is 89, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. And Extreme's first album, I also believe, was the same year, or 88. And they both kind of have like, hey, we do like Van Halen too. So all of a sudden, like, Vito's showing a bit of his, like, I like Van Halen a bit too. And like, you're hearing a bit of that influence in there as well. And the production is great. It's a huge sound. Please tell me you listen to this in headphones.
Oh, hells yeah.
My God, I could nerd out about the spread and the effect, but I won't. But yeah, this is a huge sounding album.
More specifically, I listened to this with headphones that were plugged in, not Bluetooth. So you get the full sound range right there.
Who the hell listens to music with Bluetooth in their ear? That's not
more people that are on commuting to the office.
Okay. All right.
Because the last thing you're
not supposed to. And like in public transportation.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
The last thing you want to do is be walking, down the stairway or something like that. And, you all know this happens. You're plugged into your phone or whatever and then all of a sudden you catch something on like a door handle and then your headphones are yanked off your head. So it's for safety. All right. So what's your pick off a Big Game?
I need your help with this. Okay. Because I cannot choose between these two. So let me say that Radar Love is not my choice. But at this time, I didn't really listen to a lot of the radio, and I would pop on MTV every now and then. This is how I was introduced to that song, was White Lion's cover of it.
Oh, you and I are the same, yeah.
I had not heard Golden Earrings version. And there's a riff in Cry for Freedom, that breakdown, the squeal. I think that's like the most badass metal riff that they wrote. But my choice is between Cry for Freedom or Little Fighter, because I think just the story of Little Fighter, the overall spectrum of how this song works, it just, and also Tramp's vocals on Little Fighter are awesome. So I've got to make a choice now. Is it Little Fighter or is it Cry for Freedom? I'm gonna go with gosh darn it to heck. Dag nabbit. Jason, I'm gonna go with Cry for Freedom.
You chose wisely, Sean, because it's also my pick as well, and for exactly all the same reasons. But also, this is one of those songs, you know me, and I'm a bassist. I very, very particular about my bass, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of pick bass. But when you get to that definitely that almost like pick bass rhythm coming out of or going into that like, it is fan-freaking-tastic. It's almost like muted pick, and it sounds so good. I had Little Fighter, Let's Get Crazy, Don't Say It's Over, and I was really fighting with Radar Love, like, oh, could this be it? Because I think it is the version. Radar Love is a White Lion song. Who is this golden earring you're talking about?
I see where you're going with this. Yeah, but I also agree.
But yeah, no, it's got to be Cry for Freedom. Like, Vito Bratta is slaying on this. Absolutely. But not in like a wailing, I can hit all the notes and, right. But like in a very complex, full on song. I could have picked this for you. I didn't realize you were fighting with Little Fighter as well. But yeah, Cry for Freedom is fantastic.
Wow, so we're 2 for 4 so far.
2 for 3 even.
2 for 3. Wait. Oh yeah. We're about to get to 4.
We're about to get to 4. I'll be curious to see if we, tackle another one at the same time. With Main Attraction, released April 2nd, 1991, hit number 61 on the Billboard 200 and number 11 in Switzerland. 4 singles off of this one. Love Don't Come Easy hit number 24 on the U.S. mainstream rock charts. And I got to say, they definitely know how to pick the singles, because Love Don't Come Easy is fantastic.
Hell yeah. It's on my short list.
Well, I feel like I kind of spoiled it because it is my pick off of this.
Okay, all right.
Like, this feels like the encore song. Like Lights Go Down, Come Back On, Love Don't Come Easy. Like, this has got to be the base. Right. Oh my God. And that whole little, just that guitar tone, like, you can tell he's just like one-handing the fretboard on that one.
Yeah.
Oh my freaking God. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Blue Monday, because that is some stank face guitar on Blue Monday. It was on my short list along with Lights and Thunder, Broken Heart, It's Over, and Farewell to You. But off of Main Attraction, what'd you go with?
So here's the problem. So Love Don't Come Easy is also, now I have to make the choice. Lights and Thunder, I mean, it's prog. If you ever wondered if they dabbled in prog, listen to Lights and Thunder. They dabble in prog big time. So it's Lights and Thunder, Broken Heart, or Love Don't Come Easy. But I think I'm with you on Love Don't Come Easy, probably for that, especially the encore idea. What a great reason. I mean, Lights and Thunder is badass. Lights and Thunder, really, it takes its time to say, we're here, we're back, here's our new album. I'm going to go with Love Don't Come Easy. Not because we have to be in totem, but before listening to the album, I was like, oh, it's probably going to be Love Don't Come Easy or Till Death Do Us Part. And listening to this on Spotify, because I couldn't find my CD, which I'm pissed about, a lot of people love Till Death Do Us Part. I remember loving that song as a kid too. And I haven't heard that one in a while. But yeah, Love Don't Come Easy is the way to go.
Yeah. And I think up to this point, of all the albums with Vito Bratta, this is the album I find with the best production quality to it. Like, it just sounds so crisp and lush in the mix.
this is another one of those albums where he taps back into the Randy Rhoads thing that he didn't really do on Big Game, where he was composing a part instead of just here's the part. Like it was a composition like Randy would do. But I really want to give a shout out because I did do a deep dive and looked up, what names I could find keyboard playing wise. My favorite keyboard playing was on the Main Attraction album, and that would be Kim Boulard. I sorry if I butchered your name, good sir, but your keyboard playing on Main Attraction is out of this world.
All right. So now we have to wait 17 years and a whole brand spanking new band for Return of the Pride, released March 14th, 2008. The band at this point is Mike Tramp, the only original member, Jamie Law, Klaus Langeskov, Troy Patrick Farrell, and Henning Vonner. Two singles off of this one, Dream and Live Your Life, neither of which actually charted. So it's White Lion, but it's not White Lion. So I'll ask you, without Vito Bratta, is it still that White Lion sound to you?
So actually my second note is this is really missing Vito, but it still had the heart of White Lion. So it's still White Lion. I mean, yeah, it's only Mike Tramp and, using the name for whatever reason, but it doesn't sound like Mike Tramp solo. It sounds like Mike Tramp solo, but tapping into that White Lion vibe.
So plagiarizing himself. Gotcha. Okay.
Well, like revisiting the prog.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, right? I understand when some artists want to do a solo album and tap into some of their other influences. Like if you actually listen to that very first Jeff Tate solo album, there's a lot of different styles on there that I know that he was also into at the same time, which is a really good solo album. It's just not Queensryche. And it's okay for artists to have different sounds or different influences that make up their sound. Talking about Within Temptation, Sharon Den Adele did a solo album called My Indigo, and it is vastly different than everything done within Temptation. So here you have Mike Tramp, almost like you said, retapping into what made him big in those early years. But your thoughts on the disc as a whole and your pick?
I liked it a lot more than I thought I would because of how much time had lapsed and the fact that it was only Mike Tramp. But about 4 songs in, I was like, man, I am really digging this a lot. So as a whole, I think it's a good album.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid album. I have some notes. Aside from really missing Vito, actually, my first note is Sangre de Cristo's multiple parts. It's really ambitious. It's nothing like, I guess the closest we got before that is Lights and Thunder, like to this long song. But that Sangre de Cristo has like a lot of parts and it's ambitious and it totally works. The chorus of Dream is beautiful. And the other note is the instrumental section in Finally See the Light is awesome. And it's got, I don't know if you remember when Halloween wasn't power metal for a little while there in the early 90s, but they had a song called When the Sinner, big single, like awesome tune. So it's kind of got that vibe because it's got the horns and the synth stab horns. And so it also has the vibe of a song called Violent Dream by a band called Mind Bomb. So Finally See the Light has this just killer instrumental section that kind of comes out of the blue. So once again, I still would call this a White Lion album because it does tap into the prog a lot. But that being said, Jason, what is your choice from Return of the Pride?
Okay, I had Finally See the Light on my short list and Dream. I also had Set Me Free and Battle of the Little Bighorn. But there's a track on here where I'm like, up to this point, a lot of the songs that I had picked from previous albums were leaning more into the proggy style, the Lady of the Valleys, the Cry for Freedoms. Live Your Life is such a party head bopper.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I was expecting this, but I'm just like, this is a fun track.
Well, that's why I still say it made sense for them to be lumped in with the hair metal as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they should have gotten more love as the years had gone by from the Queensryche crowd. But that's a really good choice. It's not my choice, but that's a really good choice, Jason.
I mean, it makes sense that this was picked as the second single, but what did you go with?
I went with Dream. The rest of the album, I was like, man, that chorus in Dream is just so huge and perfect.
Yeah. One thing I will say about White Lion, seeing how you picked the other single from this disc, is that they clearly know what the big songs were supposed to be. You know, what the singles were. Because I don't know about you. There are a number of times when I listen to a band's album and I'm like, why didn't you release this as the single? Why is this not out there on the radio? Why not? Right?
Well, because Hysteria already had 8 of the 10 songs out as singles, and there was no room for Gods of War.
Okay, still fair, but there are some albums where I'm just like, this is a fantastic song. How did no one, at the label or in the band push for this to be the single?
Dude, I'm a deep cut guy. This is pretty much common knowledge by now. And look at a band like Saigon Kick, where everybody knows them for Love Is On The Way. And I was a fan of them from their first album. When they were on 1480 with like songs like What You Say and Susie or Come Take Me Now, which was the big power ballad from that. But everybody remembers Saigon Kick for that. And they don't know beautiful songs. By beautiful, I mean heavy as like like The Lizard or One Step Closer or anything from those. Actually, all 4 albums. I can't say don't check out all 4 albums. All 4 albums by Saigon Kick are great. But we're here to talk about White Lion, my friends.
All right. But I will say, since you brought this up, because Saigon Kick only has 4 albums, they would not qualify for There Can Only Be One episode. However, if you are a regular listener of the show, then you know that coming up is a new addition to this channel, the Under 5 Top 5, where we take bands with a less than 5 but more than 1 album discography and create a top 5 list from those songs. So I have a feeling we're going to be talking about Saigon Kick somewhere down the road. Just a hunch.
All in.
Done and done. But we got business to deal with here.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and you're not looking forward to this one at all, are you?
I mean, maybe. We'll see.
All right. So, Sean, please remind our listeners what your 5 picks are from the White Lion discography. And if there can only be one White Lion song, what's it going to be?
From Fight to Survive, I went with Fight to Survive. I don't know why I said it like that. From Pride, I went with Tell Me. From Big Game, I went with Cry for Freedom. From Main Attraction, I went with Love Don't Come Easy. And from Return of the Pride, I went with Dream. And if there can only be one, can I choose Elise's cover of When the Children Cry?
You can have an emotional pick there, but it can't be your only one.
Okay, well, we've talked about 2 covers on this episode. We've talked about Radar Love and Elise's cover of When the Children Cry. So if I have to choose one of those, it's Elise's cover of When the Children Cry. No shade to Radar Love. I mean, my only one then, I guess, is, not that I guess, I sound like I'm bummed about it, but it's Cry for Freedom.
It's not a bad pick at all. All right. So I went with Fight to Survive off of Fight to Survive. From Pride, I went with Lady of the Valley. From Big Game, I went with Cry for Freedom. From Main Attraction, I went with Love Don't Come Easy. And from Return of the Pride, I went with Live Your Life. This is literally the knockdown drag-out fight between Lady of the Valley and Love Don't Come Easy. It is...
Well, there comes a time when Jason makes a choice.
Sing it,
will
man.
It be
Sing
from Pride or will it be from Main Attraction? Pick it now.
Okay. All right. I am going to go with Love Don't Come Easy. I'm probably going to regret it. Now, had the live version of Lady of the Valley been in the discussion,
that would have been my choice.
It would have been, maybe a different choice. But the studio version, Love Don't Come Easy, off of Main Attraction, just such a big concert moment feel. Definitely the encore song for sure. Sean, thank you so much for this. Now, please remind our listeners out there what you've been up to and where they can find you out there on the interwebs.
Well, if you are on the interwebs, you can find me. Just go to Linktree. Probably the easiest way to find me, I would assume. It's Linktree Sean Faust Music, so you can find all my stuff there. Buy it, then stream it. I usually say buy it, don't stream it. If you don't stream it on Bandcamp, but buy it everywhere, stream it wherever you want. Help me out. Buy my friend Eliza's music as well, please. She's got a beautiful album out called Into the Light as well. And Slippery When Wet, New Jersey, the nation's longest running and most authentic tribute to 80s era Bon Jovi. Yes, folks, I am David Bryan in that band, and I'm very happy to say it. JoviTribute.com.
Dude, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, well, you guys know the drill. If there is an artist that you want us to cover on There Can Only Be One, or an album that you want us to cover on Spin, Shuffle, Skip, hit us up on social media at OnlyOneCast, or go to our website, notthatbadcast.com, where you can get all these links and show notes that we've been talking about throughout the show. Until next time, he's Sean, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is There Can Only Be One, proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS. This episode is brought to you by ChatGPT. Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Have you guys heard about ChatGPT work? It's the new way to use ChatGPT for bigger multi-step projects. And when you need more than just answers, give ChatGPT work access to your apps and files, and it can create real work documents like spreadsheets, slides, and structured reports. Get started at chatgpt.com by selecting work mode, available on Plus and Pro plans.
At ZocDoc, we know being a healthy adult is like living in a video game. Every day has side quests, taxes, laundry, birthdays. And just when you're leveling up, you have to book a doctor. The insurance portal crashes. They put you on hold. Your doctor doesn't take your plan. Game over. We see you. So we made booking a doctor easy. Download ZocDoc. Search by specialty, insurance, and availability. Book instantly. No cheat codes required. Find a doctor you love with ZocDoc.